Hello, everybody. I will do my introductions in about 20 seconds, but first, let's do the splash page intro, and then I will be right back to introduce myself, okay? And hopefully this works, because it's been a while. It has been a while. Well, it looks like it worked. I'm hoping that it did. Let's go ahead and hide that. And welcome. I see that Katie is here already. Hello, Katie. Welcome. If you are new to the live stream, hello. I am Hilary of tarotbyhilary.com, here to demystify the mystical and put you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition. Because, yes, my friends, do not argue with me. You have intuition. I am a professional tarot reader and tapping, EFT, emotional freedom technique tapping practitioner as well. And we do this live stream every week, Fridays, 6:30 p.m. or 6:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But I have not been doing it for the past couple of weeks because my schedule has not been allowing for it. And also, there's some shit going on in my personal life. Some family stuff, some medical stuff. Not medical stuff for me. I'm fine. I'm healthy as far as I know. I'm drinking my water. But yeah, there's some stuff going on that I'm not really at liberty to share right now because it's not my information to tell. But we're navigating some stuff right now. So yeah, when I'm able to talk about it, if I'm ever able to talk about it, I will definitely share. But a little while ago, I was in my car and I did a quick car talk. Dashboard confessional edition of Car Talk, where I'll go live on the gram of Insta and I'll talk about whatever is crossing my mind at that moment while I'm driving. And so I happened to be able to donate blood today, which was fantastic. I happened to be in the area of where a blood drive was going on, and I am a blood donor. And if you give your information to a blood center, and you happen to have a blood type that is desirable, like they will call you. They will call you. They want your blood, and for whatever reason, every time I've tried to donate intentionally, my iron count just hasn't been high enough for me to be able to donate at that time that I've gone in purposefully to donate. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm in the area. Blood drive's going on. I do have my donor ID card on me. Let me see. Let me try. Even though that was not in my intention when I woke up this morning. If that was my intention this morning, I would have had like a really heavy breakfast and drank a lot of water. And I don't know, for some reason the stars were aligned, and I warned them when I went in, like, listen, like when I've tried to donate before, like I have been successfully a donor before, but like recently, or as recent as a couple of years ago, like for whatever reason. So just let me know if I'm not a good candidate today. But I did warn them, and he was just like, nope, you're good to go. Go into the other room, like fine. So I got my bandage on in case anyone was wondering. Um, I'm a little bit annoyed. I saw somebody else get a pink bandage. And I'm just like, oh, I wanted a pink bandage. I didn't get the option. I should have asked. Like, is that a lesson in asking for what you want? Yes, I think so. That way, maybe they even had a purple bandage that I didn't know about. That way, I could have been completely on fleek, matching my outfit. I don't know. But yeah, I was driving home today, And I was just thinking about a lot of different things out loud. And one of those things is like, I've been thinking a lot lately about being fame adjacent. And I feel like we've talked about this on Card Slingers Coast to Coast, which is the podcast that I do with Melissa. I was about to say Melissa Elford, Melissa Sanova, and Jamie Elford. That would have been an interesting combination. We can all swap our respective spouses. We were talking about this. I can't remember which episode where it's just like there is a little bit of marginal fame associated with what we do. And for some reason, like, not you guys, by the way, not you guys. I'm not talking about the people that tune in every week. Like, I'm not talking about Katie. I'm not talking about Fran. Like, hello, by the way. But there are some people that like feel like they are entitled to every piece of information about you. And it is a little bit weird sometimes, people prying about your information, especially when there is something going on, when like you're not at liberty to say, like right now, like I can't share everything that I want to on the internet. And also, I don't want to share some of these things on the internet. So there is a parasocial relationship involved in being a psychic with a book or a metaphysical author with a book and a social media account. So people do quote things back to you. They do feel like they know you. And to some degree, people do know me. I do try and represent myself authentically, but there are some aspects of me that people don't know or not privy to that information. And that's totally okay. So I'm not talking about you guys. I'm not talking about the people that come in on the lives and watch every week and are, regular friends or community, the Tarot by Hilary live stream community. Like, that's not who I'm talking about. Because you all have been like stellar and super about, giving me the space and the time to be off for a few weeks, and not do this every week, which I totally appreciate. And without also prying about it. Like, when I'm ready to talk about it, I will talk about it. So if I'm able to talk about it, only from my perspective, I cannot speak for anybody else, nor do I want to speak for anybody else. So, but yeah, welcome to the live stream. Yeah, Katie, it's irregulars that act like family. Yeah, it's kind of sus. It's a little bit weird. It is. So by the way, mentioning about the Card Slingers Coast to Coast, we do have a new episode that's up today, episode 98, I believe, where we're wrapping up our in-depth discussion of each of the major arcanas. We talk about the world card in this episode. At that time, I can't even remember when we recorded that episode, but I was working with the Witch Sister deck at that point. So I think we might have recorded that in January. I'm not sure. We get very timey-wimey about our recordings of Card Slingers because we want to be able to batch the recordings with enough time and schedule them with enough time so that like you guys, like, thank you all so much. If you're a listener of the Card Slingers Coast to Coast podcast, like, thank you so much, because it's like, again, that weird parasocial thing, but it's also like kind of nice to know that we're not just, echoing our voices into the universe with like no response. It's nice to be able to get your feedback, and it's nice that people are enjoying the podcast. And like, how weird is it that we're upcoming, like we're coming up to our 100th episode next month. And so we have been talking about that, and we're pretty sure we're going to record it live, probably on the tube of you. So we may be, I guess, either doing it here, probably not, probably not. I'm just going to wait for that to pop up from Stephanie. I think I'm listener 42, number 42. Sure, 42, the answer to universe, the life, the universe, and everything, according to Douglas Adams. So, Yeah, we're probably gonna make our own Card Slingers account on the Tube of You, to be able to do that recording, and either record through, I don't know, this might be live or StreamYard or something. I don't know. So, and Fran says, I am so far behind in all of my podcasts. That's fine, Fran. That's fine. That is totally fine. We actually mentioned in this episode about other podcasts that we listen to or friends of the podcast, like That Witch Life, because we mentioned Courtney Weber, who does a podcast about like witchcraft and medical metaphysical stuff with two of her co-hosts too. So it's a like a three for as well, like kind of like us, but different. Um, and I am so behind on that podcast because their podcast episodes are usually around a little over an hour in length. And like, I just don't have the attention span for that. So, like, when I can, I will. It's not a sign of disrespect. It's actually a sign of much respect. But we know card slingers at card slingers that you guys wanted half hour episodes because you're listening to us while you're doing chores like cleaning up or washing the dishes or doing laundry. So like we take that feedback very seriously, so we try very hard to keep it as bite sized as possible and not go over a half an hour unless of course we have a special guest on, such as Teresa Reed, or who else did we have on? Nancy Hendrickson, I think we had on. So if we're doing a special series of episodes, like especially with like mentors in the tarot community or teachers that we respect in the tarot community, then maybe our episodes will run a little bit longer in length, and that's just to be expected. So um lots of chats, lots of messages here, so I'm glad you didn't abandon me because I abandoned you. I'm glad that you guys are tuning in. It makes me so happy. It makes my heart so happy that you guys are here. Stephanie says, ooh, I need some new recs for podcasts. Yeah, so I've got them. So definitely, obviously, Card Slingers Coast to Coast, which you already know about. My podcast, which I have taken a couple of months off, like, if I don't feel like recording, I'm not going to record one. And especially because it's like, I feel like I'm a little too hard on myself with regard to my own standalone podcast because it's just like, I usually do this every week. So, and by the way, if you're seeing that spammer in the chat, please go ahead and ignore, block, reports. They are not affiliated with me, and y'all know me by now. Um, I'm never going to do that to you. And I'm never going to go on to somebody else's live stream and do that. It's like totally not okay. So, like, I see you and I will be reporting and blocking your ass for spam after I'm done with this. So, if you could do the same for me, that would be great. Um, anyway, so other recommendations. So That Witch Life, my standalone podcast, which I think I'm on episode 40 something. Um, so, and like Fran was saying, if you're behind on podcasts, like that's totally fine. Like that's the reason why we batch episodes. So like catch up if you can, but like please don't. So that we're always like ahead of you guys. We're trying to get ahead of you guys. Like you guys are ravenous in the best way. And originally we were going to do an episode a month, and you guys were just like, no, we want more, we wanted more. We would take it every week if we could, and we're just like, okay, that's a little too much for Kendra to do, our who is our producer that makes us look and sound so fabulous. So every other week, every second and fourth Friday is when a new episode of Card Slingers Coast to Coast goes up. So yeah, like we appreciate the rabid devotion, but also like that's as much as we're able to do right now without completely burning out. And you guys don't want us to burn out. Like we made this agreement when we started the podcast, like we sealed it with tattoos that if the podcast ever got in the way of our friendships, like, and we didn't want to do it anymore, if one of us didn't want to do it anymore, that was it. So we're on our 100th episode and we have tattoos because our friendship means more to us than the podcast. Even though you guys love the podcast and we love that you love the podcast, like if the podcast ever gets in the way or for our friendship, that's when we're calling it. So, and we will let you know when that happens, if that happens, but hopefully that never happens. um, so yes. Yeah. Kendra adds the ka-ching sound and also the air horn. The air horn has not made an appearance in our most recent episodes, but we'll do it with our mouths. And then what else? Also the fanfare. The fanfare for cool people will also do the fanfare noise. And then also episode 69, the sexual key to the tarot. Kendra produced that like bow chicka wow wow music. So like again, awesome. Like Kendra is awesome. And keeps us sounding as professional as we kind of are not. I mean, at the start of the episode that we put out today, I mentioned how we're like consummate professionals, tongue in cheek. So, anyway, more podcast recommendations. So, obviously, Card Slingers, obviously, my podcast, the Tarot by Hilary podcast. I think I'm on around episode 46, 47. I don't know at this point. That Witch Life, which we mentioned in this episode. I also highly recommend House of Herbie, or I think it's Herbie House, or the Herbie House podcast at this point. So it's Queen Herbie and Jedi Nick. She is a musician. They're both musicians. They had apparently success with a band called Carmen. I believe it was back in the early 2000s. It might have been in the late 90s. I'm not sure. And now they have Queen Herbie. But they have a really interesting podcast that I am very behind on. I think I'm a year and a half behind on that one. But every episode that I listen to from that podcast just aligns in such a beautiful way for what I'm going through at that moment. So, highly, highly recommend that podcast as well. And yeah, if you guys have any recommendations for podcasts, please feel free to drop them into the chat because Stephanie wants them. And I'm sure other people that are watching either live or on the replay will want them too. Fran says, I love Totem Rach or Rach and Astonishing Legends also. Have not heard of either of those, but awesome. Like I will take your word for it. I will take those recommendations. So let me go back in the comments because there were a lot and I was trying to keep on the ball and not go off onto a tangent. So Katie was saying about irregulars that act like family. They are the most prying. Yeah, very true. Stephanie asked, I hope the time off was good for you. We're still going through it. But I appreciate that, and I appreciate that sentiment. And this is something that was told to me, like in the moment, like another family member was saying, like we have to remember to take care of ourselves too in all of this, and make sure that we're sleeping, we're getting enough sleep, that we're drinking our water, that we're eating, that we're keeping to our regular routines as much as possible, which is good advice. So, but yeah, thank you. I appreciate that sentiment, and hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. Let's see. Yeah, Katie says, me too. I listen to so many podcasts these days. Yeah, yeah. And let's see. New person. Hello, how are you doing? I'm doing great. As good as can be expected right now. I did mention in the description of this video that we're most likely not going to do the mid-episode reading. I'll see how I feel. I'm not feeling up to it right now. And even if it is like the opportunity for a free reading with me, like honestly, like, one of my recommendations as a tarot teacher is if you're feeling off and you're feeling off to a certain degree, like, you know yourself best. And if you feel like you're not going to be giving the quality of reading that you would want to receive, then you probably shouldn't be giving a reading at that time. So and we've talked about this on Card Slingers. I feel like I've talked about this before, either in this live stream or someplace else. I'm pretty sure I said it publicly before. It's just like, you know yourself best. And there is a difference between like copping out and making excuses and being like, oh, I don't feel like it, and then pushing through and ending up giving a great reading, or knowing yourself enough to know like, oh, I'm not feeling well, I'm not going to give the best reading right now, maybe I should just take some time off, or reschedule that reading. Like, and I have tremendous respect for people that know thyself, because I'm not going to be mad at someone that's asked, like, I know I have you scheduled for a reading at this time, but can we reschedule because I am not feeling well? I am not at my best right now. Like, you are entitled to know thyself and to express that to people. And I know I'm getting very pedantic about that, but if it's just like, if you're feeling off, like, your reading is probably not going to be great. It's going to kind of suck. And you don't want to deliver a sucky product or a sucky service. So just don't. Like, wait until you're feeling better, or do things that you know will make you feel better, and give yourself time and patience and self compassion. And then when you're feeling better, then get the reading done. Schedule the reading. Yeah. So Katie says your aerial is off. Your antenna, my antenna, as off as you are feeling. Yeah, exactly. Oh, and Teresa's here. Hello, Teresa. It's so nice to see you. Sending healing, love, and peace. This is a journey, not an event. Be kind to you first. Have a peaceful weekend. Thank you so much, Teresa. It's so appreciated. Yeah, and it's important to live by healthy boundaries. Absolutely. I was just posting a meme the other day. Was it the other day or this morning? I can't remember. But it was about people that have problem with your boundaries. They're going to have a problem with your boundaries because they were the ones benefiting from you not having boundaries. And I feel like that's a message to someone. Like, if that hits, either if you're watching live or you're watching the replay, like, then that message is for you. Speaking of messages that are or for not for are or not for you, we did do card of the day today. It was the Ace of Pentacles, and I feel like this is the second time this month that we've received the Ace of Pentacles from the Weiser Tarot. And yeah, so it's just like, take things slow. Like, you're on a new path, and it's okay for you to take things slowly, step by step, so that you can align yourself with that journey in order to be able to get momentum to go forward. But remember, the aces are about the potential of the suit, not necessarily the realization or the completion of the suit. Like, you're at the beginning. So be okay with being at the beginning and just take things slowly. Yeah. So no mid-episode reading tonight, but I do have capacity to tell you the astro weather from Teresa Reed's wonderful Astro Biz Digest. $99 for a subscription to that. Astrology in layman's terms, straight to your email inbox. And is geared towards entrepreneurs and business owners, but I have found it incredibly helpful in planning my personal life as well. So let me go ahead and show that to you. And that link will also drop into the chat if you want to purchase it for yourself. But wait, I usually give the major transits from the Astro Biz Digest for the week, then tell you Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and that's it. So, and then I'll peek. I'll take a peek at like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday by request. but I won't give you the whole shebang because that is not respectful to Teresa's work and what she's doing. If you like what you hear in this portion of the live stream, then I would highly recommend you purchase the AstroBiz Digest for yourself. I'll go ahead and display that on screen. It's basically thetarotlady.com/AstroBiz Digest with a hyphen between the Astro and the biz and the digest. All right. So let me pull that up. And I actually have my iPad off to the side. So I'm like dual screening right now. But let me go ahead and pull that up on that screen so that I don't have to tab over to give you this information. So let's start with the main transits that are going on. I'm pretty sure that she's going to mention that we are in Aries season right now. And that makes me very happy because I am in Aries. If you're not already aware of it, I don't know how you could not know that I'm in Aries because if you've been watching this live stream for any amount of time, it's just like it's all over my face and my attitude and in my voice. I don't know. Like I can't hide it. There have been some people that have mislabeled me as a Capricorn, but that's only because that's my rising sign. So sometimes people will get mixed up because rising sign is usually our outward projection and but I'm a Capricorn in that aspect, but my sun sign is an Aries, and so is my Venus, and so is my Mars. So that can be sometimes difficult for people to navigate, especially if I am their tarot reader. But yet, the tough love that I give in tarot readings, people come back for it. They come back for more. I don't understand it, but I've come to appreciate it and expect it at this point. All right, let's see. Because I haven't even looked at the astrology for this week. I usually do, but sometimes I don't even, some weeks are just heavy and a lot going on. So let's take a look. So, workday forecast for March 25th to the 31st of 2024. A challenging week for business, heads and shields up, according to Teresa. All right, are we ready? Let me know in the chat if we're ready for this. I'm going to take a sip of water. Remember, drinking your water is very important, not just if you've donated blood. All right. So the lunar eclipse in Libra on the 25th, so that's already passed, sheds light on a relationship or a legal issue. Something could come to a head in a surprising way. A partnership or client could be eclipsed out of your life without warning. But as the smoke clears, you might see this is for the best. Try not to hang on. The more you let go, the more space you create for new possibilities to emerge. And I think Katie says, Astro, go, 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 go. I think that we have been doing that because of the reappearance of the Ace of Pentacles for today's card of the day energy. I think if we haven't been letting things go, we probably would have received another card. Anyway, also a reminder that Mercury retrograde is coming up soon. Please back up your computer and websites. If you need to purchase new technology or sign a contract, try to do this before April 1st. Communication will be dicey once Mercury retrograde starts. A bit of restraint goes a long way to avoiding misunderstandings. That's good advice, even if it's not Mercury retrograde. But remember that Mercury rules the following topics: communication, travel, and technology. So those three things are affected negatively when Mercury is in retrograde. So just remember to double and triple check any travel plans that you might have. Make your purchases for technology prior to April 1st, as she recommends, and be super clear in your communication. And if you can avoid signing contracts during the Mercury retrograde, do so. If you can't avoid it, make sure to double and triple check everything, including the fine print, before you go and sign anything. Okay? Okay. Okay. All right. So, specifics of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday, slow down when the moon trines Neptune and stations void at 11:40 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Use this period to finish creative work or tax preparation. Get back into the game when the moon bolts into optimistic Sagittarius at 3:52 p.m. The weekend is set for travel, learning, publishing, and business risks. Sally forth and see what you might conquer. A fabulous spot for powerful truth-telling speeches opens up when the moon sextiles Pluto at 7:23 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's coming up. Maybe there's going to be some truth bombs on this live stream. I don't know. There usually is. Inspire your audience with your story or hot take on your industry. Well, I think I've already been doing that. I think we're already in that mix right now. People are listening. So today, Friday, March 29th, is a power day for Scorpio and a weekday for Taurus. All right, moving into Saturday and Sunday. Saturday is pretty chill and one of the last days before Mercury stations retrograde. Like, it's coming up. We're almost there. We're in the shadow period right now of Mercury retrograde. If you need to travel, you should be in luck. Express your truth when the moon trines the sun at 11:44 a.m. You can get your point across perfectly then. Pipe down when the moon squares Saturn at 5:29 p.m. People are grumpy and not in the mood to spend. Not great for sales. Sunday is a mixed bag. So Sunday, Easter, if you celebrate Easter, the morning is clear, so you can travel, publish, market, and take chances without worry. But the Moon Venus square at 2:06 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and Moon Neptune square at 8:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time create tense vibes. The public is not in a good mood around those aspects. There is a small window within that time frame to market the Moon Mercury trine at 6:54 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's dynamite for newsletters or pep talks. Frankly, the other aspects kind of kill this vibe, so Teresa's plan is no business, rest. Both days, Saturday and Sunday of this weekend, are power days for Sagittarius and weekdays for Gemini. All right. So that is the astrology from Teresa Reed, aka the Tarot Lady. At this time, I want to open up the floor. If you want to know anything about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, if you felt the vibes were off those days and you wanted to know if there was an astrological reason why, please feel free to ask me in the chat. Otherwise, we'll move on to the main point of tonight's episode, which is probably just going to be the weekend forecast. And then I'm going to go because I have Chinese food waiting, which I've already started. Mr. Tarot by Hilary found a really nice Chinese place in our area. I mean, we moved like 10 months ago, and we didn't move very far away from where we were. But he's been a little bit obsessed with this Chinese place once he's found it. So now it's getting bad, folks. But because I donated blood today, he was asking me, "What do you want? What do you want?" And I'm just like, meat. Very, very good. Yeah, yum. Chinese food. It's so good. It's so good. We haven't had a miss yet. So I'm absolutely shocked by that. I'm even more shocked that I didn't faint today because I did not have a big breakfast. And I went in to the blood donation, one, not expecting to donate blood, one, not expecting that my iron count would be high enough. And third, I didn't eat breakfast this morning. And I actually got made fun of because I had my coffee cup in hand. And so the guy was just like, "So there's water in there, right?" And I'm like, Fran says, "Wish we had good places here." I mean, there is that school of thought, like how hard could it be? And it's just like, hard. There are some places that are just not good. All right. Any requests for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? I mean, Monday was a little bit rough, but then again, we did have the is well done, girl. Is that for the blood donation? I will take that. I will take that pat on the back. um, so Katie says, I personally have had a good week since the lunar eclipse. Eclipse helped with the great start to the clean out that needs to happen. Awesome. I'm now resting because I'm a little burnt out from it. Yeah. Yeah, I had a feeling like there's Monday the 25th, like we did mention it with the lunar eclipse. Um, so yeah, so this day can be volatile. So regarding Monday, this day can be volatile, especially around partnerships and PR. The best plan is to lay low, take Monday off if you can. I was already off, thankfully. If you must work, focus on creative projects. You can avoid drama if you put your attention there. Yeah, and it was a power day for Libra and a weak day for Aries. As you all know, I am sun sign Aries. So, mm-hmm. And then, of course, like we do have the solar. Isn't it a solar eclipse coming up? Total solar eclipse coming up. By the way, folks, that is coming up and that is on my birthday. So I don't know how I'm going to feel with the solar eclipse, that big eclipse energy happening on my birthday. In fact, when I was driving, they actually had signs on the highway about it. Like stay, gosh, what was the sign? I think it said something like arrive early, stay late about the eclipse. So I'm just like, what is going on? It feels very Y2K. So, yes, bloody Hilary. Well, thankfully not. I was able to elevate my arm. When I came home, Mr. Tarot by Hilary was just like, why did they use your dominant arm? And I was just like, listen, he said put out my arms and he tested both sides and it looked like, and this was the one that he wanted. So this is the one that he got. It's like, I'm regretting it now, but small price to pay to be able to donate. Katie says the universe collaborated to make it happen on the lunar eclipse, so I went with the energy. Exactly. And that's part of the reason why I do the AstroBiz Digest, while I cite from it every live stream, because this is something that Teresa and I agree on, is work with the energy that's there instead of like a salmon swimming upstream. Like, why would you do that? Work with the energy that's already present instead of railing against it. It just makes for a lot smoother sailing. And also, Teresa's been planning her business using astrology for so many years now that it's like a well-oiled machine at this point. And when she came out with the AstroBiz Digest, I was the first, I think I was the third person to sign up. I don't know. I was in the front row for that, and I've been a subscriber ever since because it's so helpful. And also $99 for a year-long subscription every single week. You're getting the layman's terms. Come on. That's a really, really good deal. That's the reason why I shout it out every live stream. That's the reason why I cite for it every live stream, because of exactly that sentiment, Katie. I went with the energy. Go with the energy. I mean, even some of the skeptics in my life, you all know that I do have a part-time retail job. I've done retail for, I don't know, 25 years out of my life. I've done retail. Please go ahead and ignore that other spammer in the chat. I will block you in due time when I'm done recording, when I'm done live streaming, but I see you and I don't like it. I've been in retail for so long that, and, even the skeptical people in my life that are also in retail, they're like, the proof is in the pudding. Like, every full moon, there's usually something crazy going on, um, in the retail space. So, and there's so many stories about that, that it's just like, oh, it's a full moon. Oh, it's Mercury retrograde. And it's just like, yeah. Yeah, exactly. um, so Anne says, you were so fortunate in the States. We never see an eclipse in Scotland. I mean, like, this this eclipse is like, this is like a huge deal. Um it doesn't really happen that frequently, that we have this like line of, like, all the news sources are like this line of totality that is like a band across the states. And so I think I'm within the band to be able to experience that totality. But also, like, I know not to look up directly at it, like, make your cardboard things, look down into the cardboard, and don't look directly into it, you know take precautions. um but it's gonna be something. So, and we're definitely feeling that energy. Like, there is that astrological undercurrent or overcurrent, as the case may be. um Fran said some of the schools in my area are closing for it. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't remember if there's been totality in my lifetime. I'm sure there has been, but maybe I don't really remember it. Maybe because I was younger. I don't know. But supposedly it's very eerie, and that, like, all the birds stop chirping. The critters stop moving. Like, everything stops. And so, yeah, I'm interested. I'm ready for it. I'm not trying to be like sucked into this whole um, craze. But it definitely has that tone, that flavor of Y2K, like, of people like freaking out and not knowing what to expect. And then, maybe it'll be the same energy where we're all freaking out, and it's just like, and then it ends up being no big deal. I don't know. I don't know. Um, yeah, big year ahead for Hillary. From solar eclipse, big year. Grab that energy and run with it. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try and harness that energy, right? Yep. Anne says it's so primal. Yeah. Fran says I was on the lake for the last one, like in 2018 or 2019. If that was the last one, then that explains a lot. And I would encourage you to take a look at your natal chart as well, and see, what's going on astrologically, and then take a look at your natal chart and see which planets are going to be affected based on that. And I usually do recommend that for Mercury retrograde too. Like, Mercury will go retrograde through the different signs. And so it is kind of a nod to take a look at where your natal Mercury might be, to be able to figure out which aspects of your life may be affected, not just in travel technology or communication, but also maybe which house, because then you'll have a more accurate prediction of like what's going to be your main lesson or theme for this Mercury retrograde, because there's always lessons within retrogrades, always. Stephanie says 2018 for sure. I remember it well. Why don't I remember it? I don't know. I had to look back in my journals and see what I was writing about at that time, 2018, 2019. Does anyone have a I can look it up. I can do this research on my own time. But I'm a little bit curious to see where I was in my life at that time. I have a I have a suspicion. I have thoughts. I have thoughts. Um Fran says, "Thank you. I've Thank you. I've slept since then. Okay. All right. Do we want to do the weekend forecast? Because I was planning, so I have a couple of different options. So I do want to like we have a relatively big audience to participate in this in the choosing of the deck for the weekend forecast, um, which isn't necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. It's just like, oh, I'm noticing that there's a bunch of people. So we have a couple of different options. I would like to do an oracle deck if that's okay with everybody. I do have the Weiser Tarot here, but I already gave you the card of the day. It's the Ace of Pentacles. You can go and look on my social media accounts for the interpretation of that. And by the way, I also want to let you guys know, for social media, for card of the day, I've only been posting to three places recently. I have been posting to the Book of Face, to the Gram of Insta, and to the Talk of Tick. Wait, no. Four places. Four places. I take it back. Four places. The Book of Face, the Talk of Tick, the Gram of Insta, and the Tube of You. So I have been using the, I guess it's called the community tab of the Tube of You, my Tube of You channel. So if you are looking to get your card of the day fix, you can go ahead and go over there, because I've been posting that as posts there. I also have been trying to take polls using that feature. So I've been asking like what people want the next tapping video to be on, EFT tapping, tapping on your face, saying things, working through issues, that sort of shit. And so far, I believe people want one on imposter syndrome, um, which has been coming up a lot for me recently. So I'm just like, if it's coming up for me, it might be coming up for somebody else, and I can definitely do a tapping on this. So feel free to vote on that community tab on the Tube of You, and feel free to partake in the card of the day posts, on whichever social media platform you following me on. You don't have to follow me on all of them. Pick one. I'm on most of them. Pick one. I understand it can be overwhelming. Yes, that's true. Oh, that's true, Fran. The new month starts Monday. I guess I should probably figure out what we're gonna do for the next unboxing, and the next deck of the month for the month of April. So I have a few ideas. It might not be a tarot deck because I do have a couple of oracle decks, and also the Kipper deck, the Seaborn Kipper, which I don't believe I've done yet for card of the day. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not wrong about that. I have been very flush with decks because I've received decks from, inadvertently from Weiser, Red Wheel Weiser, because Melissa sent me the Weiser Tarot because she had an extra copy. So thank you, Melissa. And then I did get a reviewer's box from Llewellyn. So I mean, like, putting out there right now, like, I would love to receive more reviewers boxes from different tarot deck publishers. So like, bring it. I always have an opinion, and I am not shy about sharing that opinion, even if it's not a popular opinion. So I do have the Seaborn Kipper that I don't think I've worked with, and Katie is also confirming. I don't recall you using Kipper. Okay, so Seaborn Kipper, that's a possibility. I also have the River Oracle, which is another Llewellyn Oracle deck, which I don't know how I feel about it. I haven't really been using it, obviously. But I don't think I did an unboxing of it. But sometimes, people aren't in the mood for oracle decks and they want tarot. And sometimes people aren't in the mood for tarot and they want oracle decks. So, I'm feeling that I feel that way sometimes too. And so I kind of go with what I'm feeling. So, Fran says nothing else I'm going to want to buy. and that Katie is going to encourage. Sorry. I did go through some of the of what was it, Llewellyn's catalog. And there's one called, I think it's called the Beekeeper's Tarot, and I think that's the same person that did the Yuletide Tarot. And it's looking pretty cool. So I'm like, hey, Llewellyn, you want to send me that? I'll review it. I'll do an unboxing. Um, let's see. And Anne says that would be magic. I don't have a notion for oracle decks yet. Well, I mean, oracle decks is like they're a different system. Like an oracle deck creator can do whatever they want to. There's no real system involved. There's no real foundation involved in the way a tarot deck is. Like that's part of the beauty of the tarot is that you learn the structure of the tarot, then you can read with any tarot deck. Supposedly, that's like a very generalized rule, but that is the beauty of a tarot deck. You learn a tarot deck, and then you can translate that knowledge of tarot into different decks. And then you have the different flavors of the themes and the artwork. But the hermit is still the hermit. The fool is still the fool. The three of swords is still the three of swords. So it is that common language so that you're able to then understand the language of tarot, but through the dialect of that particular deck. Does that make any sense? I hope that did. um, so, but oracle decks are a little bit kinder and gentler on occasion. In my hands, I can't make any promises. Like you all have seen oracle decks come for me just as hard as tarot decks. So sometimes all bets are off when it's a deck in my hand. I don't know. But we did do an episode on the live stream. Replays are available, and all replays are available on the Tube of You. So go to my channel, youtube.com/at Tarot by Hilary. And you should be able to search within my channel, just search Oracle. And I believe we did an episode on Oracle decks, Lenormand decks, Angel decks, and the differences between. I think that would be a really great place for you to start. And then, of course, you can always ask me any questions either on whatever live stream that we're doing currently, or you can just drop a comment into that particular video. I will see it. And if I don't see it, just go ahead and message me and I'll try and answer to the best of my ability. Because sometimes sometimes people ask me like deep cut questions. It's just like at minute 35 of your Oracle decks video, you said this. And I'm just like, did I? Like, woo! So, yeah, Katie says notifications work well on YouTube as well. Yes, exactly. And I am seeing that there's more spamming going on. So I apologize for that, guys. It's not me. Report and block. The people reaching out are reaching out to you to solicit you to buy a reading. It's not me. I don't know these people. And I would never freaking do that. I would never freaking do that to another live streamer. What the hell is wrong with people? It pisses me off. Pisses me off. Anyway, so you guys are here. So I want to leave it open to you guys. What do you want to be read from for the weekend forecast? I was thinking the Way of Bridget, Oracle cards. I love this deck. This is a deck created by Tanya Reichley. Hopefully I pronounced your name correctly, Tanya, but I love these. My best friend is a priestess of Bridget. I did some priestess training of Bridget. So Bridget's my goddess of choice. So she bought this deck for me when I was embarking on my training. It's a great deck. It's wordy. It's not so much a pictorial interpretation. There's nothing really to interpret. It's words on cards. So there's that. Fran says, okay, I trust you. That's not the only one I got. Let's see. got my spirit cloth over here. I do have the Animal Spirit, Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck by Kim Krantz, and the book that goes along with it. So we can always do that. I think we did that the last live stream I did, but then again, I don't remember when that was. So that is an option as well. So that's choice number 2. So you've got Wave Bridget Oracle cards, you've got the Animal Spirit deck. And you know what? Just for funsies, I said I wasn't in the mood to do a tarot deck, but I'll put it in the mix. I have the Accurate AF Tarot. I think this is the first or the second edition of it, by what is it? Prism and Floor. Brutally honest illumination. You like direction and you like it accurate AF. And this deck is absolutely accurate AF. It does not pull punches. Again, especially because it's in my hands. So that is choice number 3. So go ahead and choose, and we will go with the majority rule. And says, LOL, love the title. It's a great little deck, and it is a circular deck. So you can either put 1, 2, or 3 if you remember which ones. You can either say Brigid, Animal Spirit, or Accurate AF. And I'll give it a second. I'm going to drink a little bit more water. All right, you got 2 votes for Brigid, 1 and 1. Katie says, I don't think you ever have used the Brigid one. Maybe that's for fun of exploring it. 1. Geez. Okay. Wow. Stephanie says, I'm going to have to check out that deck out after, but for tonight, Brigid. Okay. Like that. Jesus. Overwhelmingly Brigid. Okay. Could also be the reason. You might be attracted to this because I have my Psychic Mala that Jen Cintrone made for me in this baggie. So it could be that you're attracted to it because of that. Or it could just be that I'm also drawn to this tonight too. So since I'm going to do that, I'm going to go ahead and put on my Psychic Mala while I do this. By the way, this is a really nice touchstone, and I do recommend if you are doing readings, whether you're doing them professionally for money or not, you have a sense of like an opening ritual and a closing ritual for each reading that you do. If you're doing a day worth of readings, you also want to have a bigger opening or closing ritual to close out at the end of the day of doing readings. So I like to put on my Psychic Mala when I'm doing readings. It's my sign to the universe and my guides that I'm ready to work. And then when I take it off, it's my sign that it's just like, okay, like it's basically like flipping an open or a close sign, like open for business, close for business. Because that is one of the things that people ask me is just like, do you get everything all the time? And it's just like, fuck no. Like, no, because I've cultivated my business, basically my intuition in such a way that it's just like it can't be on all the time. Now sometimes I will sense things outside of the reading space, but I'm not going to go up to someone and be like, bleh. I call that psychic diarrhea, and it's not okay. Like consent is paramount, and if people want a reading with me, they will book a reading with me. I'm not just going to go up to people and be like, I am sensing this about you. It takes a lot for me to do that. And if that happens, like I will always ask for permission. But most of the time, it's just like, I'm going to keep that shit to myself because it's not my business. If people want a reading with me, they will book a reading with me. Anyway, that's just a brief aside, but I really encourage people to create containers in which to do their best work. So, putting it on. Now, can I? Oh, Jesus. Another spammer. Please ignore it. Please ignore all the spammers. Thank you. Katie says it's calling us all. Way of Bridget Oracle cards, yes. And Stephanie says, I call those inside thoughts. LOL. Yes, exactly. We do have, there is a phrase we use in our households because I do have a tendency to pick up on other people's thoughts, a little bit of telepathy, I would say. Like, even though people are just like, oh, psychics aren't mind readers, hey, sometimes we are. Like, sometimes certain people are. There are different ways of sensing information. I happen to pick up thoughts from people. And even in a reading space, if I'm pulling cards, I will often say, oh, it's this. And I'll like pick up exact phrases and words that people have used either in the past, like to kind of acknowledge, like, yep, that's confirmation, or just like, oh my God, I can't believe that you're saying that. I just, or my best friend just said that to me yesterday. Like, how the heck did you know? And it's just like, it's my job. But anyway, if Mr. Tarot by Hilary is thinking, I will say to him, you're thinking too loudly. And he's just like, whatever, like, no. And then I'll repeat what he was thinking. He's like, can you stop that shit? Like, you promised. There were wedding vows said that you weren't going to do that shit. And I'm just like, I can't help it. You're thinking too loudly. So yeah. All right. So just a reminder to everybody that we do this every Friday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when I can. Hopefully that will be the case for this coming Friday, April 5th. And we'll probably do an unboxing in order to get a new deck of the month. But you got to let me know what deck you would like to see. And hopefully we will be able to do it. And I thank all of you for your patience and the space to be able to, take some time out and deal with what I have to deal with. Again, I appreciate it more than you guys know. I really, really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Thank you for sticking around and showing up and understanding when I can't do this every Friday, but I try to do it every Friday when I can do it. And we've been doing this for the past 4 years. Isn't that crazy? It's crazy. Fran says, I'll have to remember that line. What? You're thinking loudly? You're thinking too loudly? Yep. It's a staple in this house. It is. All right. Weekend forecast. What do we need to know this weekend or what do we need to embody, or what advice do we need from the Way of Bridget Oracle deck? I was about to say tarot deck. It's not a tarot deck. It's an Oracle deck. Cute, small. Oh, by the way, if you're looking to purchase this deck, I believe it's available on Etsy. Just search the Way of Bridget Oracle cards. BRIGHID. You know what? Perfect for your hands, Stephanie says. Yeah, now I know. Now I know that you've been listening to all the episodes of Card Slingers Coast to Coast, Stephanie. Because I was just like, I get it. I have small hands. Like, that was not this past episode, not the episode that came out today, but the one before it. There was this whole thing. It's just like, oh my God, it's a mini deck. It doesn't look like a mini deck in your hand. Ha ha ha. Very funny, Melissa. Very funny. Anyway. All right. That means I have to be sweeter because we are receiving from the Way of Bridget Oracle cards honey for the sweetness of life. So I got to be sweeter. I have to be sweeter. Let me wait for that to pop up. I have to. So Stephanie said, sorry, I had to. I get it, Stephanie. I get it. I get it. If you're familiar with Austin Powers, I get it. I get it. I have bad teeth. I get it. I get it. I have small hands. Small hands smells like cabbages. I know. Melissa slaps. I know she does. I know. We have a very funny way of showing our love and appreciation for each other. So even if it sounds like we hate each other or we're snarking at each other, that is our love language, is sniping at each other and you know, the gentle insults, I guess. So, honey, for the sweetness of life, this is our message for this weekend. A divine gift from the magical bees, Bridget and the Celtic people revered honey as a mighty healer for the body. Allow honey to help you recall the sweetness in your life. What are three things that have enhanced this day for you? Give yourself the gift of being totally present to experience the sweetness. Give gratitude. Allow yourself to feel the beauty of life, like the flowers that inspire and nurture the bees. You are filled with gratitude. So, I mean, I'll leave this open to you if you want to share it in the chat, if you want to share it later in the comments section, when once the replay is posted. What are three things three things that have enhanced this day for you? And come back too. You can come back to the video at any time and share the three things that you're grateful for, the three things that brought the sweetness to your day. I'll so So Fran says, so I can't tell the coworker going on leave I won't miss them. Maybe keep it to yourself. Inside thoughts. What was it that Stephanie said? I call those thoughts inside thoughts. LOL. Yeah, yeah, maybe. Oh, so sweet. So Katie says, number one, you're back. Thank you, Katie. Mine is I'm really happy that I was able to donate blood today. Um, I was There's one that I'm keeping to myself because of the nature of it. I'm really happy that my husband is so attentive to my needs when I'm going through a hard time. And that he was just like, well, what do you want to eat tonight? Because you donated blood. Like, what do you need? And I already had the second one that's in my thoughts, but let me do a third one publicly. I'm happy to be back too. Like that's sweetness for me is knowing that this community that I've helped to build is here. Even when I'm not here, even when I've had to take a break. That's sweet. That's sweet. That's honey to me. So you can share that now. Share those three things that are sweet to you, or you can share it later, or you can do it in the space of your own heart and mind, or do a gratitude practice. Practices can be really powerful. But I thank you all so much for watching. I'm happy to be back, hopefully on a more consistent, regular basis. But, again, if I do need to take the time, you guys understand, and I appreciate that understanding so much. Like I said before, it means more to me than you'll ever know. So Stephanie says, one, my first pedicure in months after taking a break due to breaking my ankle. Oh, that's a good reason. Number two, looking forward to a fun night with friends later. Awesome. And number three, taking a much needed day off work. That sounds sweet to me. That sounds pretty damn sweet to me, Stephanie. All right, I think it is time to wrap up. Feel free to leave your sweetness in the comments section. Again, we do this every Friday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when possible. Again, I appreciate it so much. If you'd like to book a reading with me or a tapping session with me, my scheduling books are available. I think I have blocked off some time, but just snap up the first available appointment you can. And if it doesn't work for me, I will reach out to you. I'll email you and I'll reach out to you to reschedule. So don't feel like it's an imposition to book with me. I don't want that to be out there. That's not the energy that I'm trying to put out there. If I'm able to read for you, snatch up that session and we will work together. Um, so Katie says, thank you, Hilary. It's great to see you and everyone else here. Have a good weekend, everyone. Remember, sweet. Be sweet. And says, thank you again, Hilary. Remember to be kind to yourself. I'm trying. I'm trying. That's one of my lessons in life. So, all right. Once again, I am Hilary, professional tarot reader and EFT tapping practitioner, here to demystify the mystical and put you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your intuition, because you have intuition too, my friends. Like, don't ever forget it. Have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful week. Yeah, sure. Sweet equals more chocolate. Absolutely. Especially with Easter coming up. If you celebrate Easter, grab yourself those cream eggs or whatever you like. I'm not a huge fan of them. I do have them, but I'm not a huge fan of them. They're a little too sweet for me. But yeah, treat yourself. Thank you all so much for watching. And hopefully I will see you next Friday, April 5th. Same bat time, same bat channel, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or maybe even a little bit later, but hopefully you will see me next week. Take care of yourselves. And yeah, have a good one. Bye.